Okay, this video is being brought to you by Dr. Pepper, my brother's favorite soft drink. I'm going to do the third book review. It's called Riding Shotgun, The Role of the COO by Nathan Bennett and Stephen A. Miles. COO, if you don't know, means Chief Operating Officer as opposed to CEO, which means Chief Executive Officer. Uh, it's a great book. And so basically, what the book is about is how to tell if your company needs a chief operating officer, how to tell, how to define his role or her role in your company. It's a really good book. Uh, Basically, they give three models of a COO. The first model is what I would call the Crown Prince model. This is a guy you bring into your company, and he will be the CEO. He will be king one day. And in order to do that, you bring him in and you let him develop his skills. You give him more and more control over the company until one day the training wheels come off and he is the CEO of the company. That's the first model. The second model is what I would call the prime minister model. This is someone that will never be king. You bring him in because you've got a special project or a special problem you need handled. For example, they talk about Dell Computers, and Michael Dell was so young when he started that company and it grew so fast. He needed some help. He needed a mentor. So they brought in the guy to be the COO. I forget the guy's name, but he did a great job. And after 5 or 10 years, he left and went on his way. And as we know, Dell Computers is still one of the best computer companies there is right now. So that's the second motto. I was going to say that if you had a reorganization or a relocation or something like that, you might bring in a chief operating officer to handle that. And then once his job is done, he becomes a CEO someplace else or goes and helps some other organization. The third model is what I would call the Grand Duke model. This is someone you bring in, and he may or may not be the prime minister. I mean, or he may or may not be the crown prince. He may or may not wind up being king one day. Uh, it's a hybrid. Uh, a lot of times, companies have a CEO just because they've always had a COO, and it's somebody that they want to promote before they retire. Uh, but anyway, this book also gives interviews. Uh, Pardon me, Dr. Pepper's coming back up. Uh, there's interviews with probably 12 or 14 companies and 12 or 14 chief operating officers. So it's a really, really good job. What I get from it, and this is easy because in my family I had an older half brother, and my job in my family was never to upstage him. So I got to learn how to be a second banana and really how to experience what I would call cooperative leadership, leadership by a team, not just an individual, but by a team. And but now the drawback from that was that in my family I never got to be the number one leader, and which is I'm having to learn that now. But it is a great book. The things I like about it are the interviews, the case. There are case. So those are some of the things I like about this book. One thing I don't like about it is that at the end of the book it starts to become really, really redundant. But even so, I would rate this book 5 stars. I would buy it. Well, depending on if you're an officer in an organization or something, I'd buy it new. But you can buy it used. I believe I bought it used on Amazon. You can borrow it. Uh, read it, probably read it through one time, and then read it as needed later on. Anything else about this book? Uh, I think it has an excellent bibliography. The two guys that wrote the book really did their homework. So, Riding Shotgun, The Role of the COO, a really good, great book.